Hey, afternoon, everyone. Happy Friday. I am sick. I have been sick since, I think, Monday. Uh, anyway, give you a little bit of, disclaimer. I cuss and I vape, and I am feeling like straight shit today. As I did yesterday and slept, I think, 22 plus hours, because it was the first time that I've ever called in sick. Like, I've called in for a funeral, and I've called in because my dispatch pissed me off. But this is the first time I was legitimately sick. And I was given the option the day before. So it's like, if you're still sick, just call in. And I was like, okay. So I sat here debating for, I don't know, 2 hours, because I woke up at some ridiculous time, middle of the night, hacking and whatnot. And so I was like, fuck it, I'll just make coffee and I'll try to get my day going. Yeah, and that didn't work. Anywho, so last Saturday my mother came over and she said, man, I don't know what happened. I just started my nose started running, and it was running, and it just wouldn't stop. And I sat there like, okay, yeah, it's allergy season. No harm, no foul. Now, what did I do with my vapors? I only got one here. I know in the coat. Did I put them in the coat? Hold on a minute. I found them. Yeah, they were in the truck. Anywho. Ouch. So, what was it? Sunday. Well, Saturday, after she come by, infected me, I went to a birthday party and I felt fine, and tied one on after I got home. Yeah. I had a few beers while I was there, and I was happy. And one of the guys was like, you was happy. I was like, he goes, that's the girl we know, right? After all this crazy rigmarole with, narcissistic relationships and being miserable for fucking 2 years, trying to get over that hell. But he's like, yeah, that's, that's the girl we know and love. Anyway, I came home and I finished 3 more of the beers that I brought with me, and that put me over the edge. And I did a video of, I was like, wow, I'm embarrassed. Anyway, yeah, everything I was talking about is true. Just the demeanor is totally off. Yeah, I was sobbing and crying, and yes, I did know that girl, and she was a peach of a person. So anyway, let me get into the details of my sick, and then I'll get into the details of that video that I restricted to the lucky 4 people that actually seen it. And thank you for the 2 likes. Yeah, because I was kind of tight. I was a little bit over the edge. Well, I did another video prior to that and only 2 views, and I think one of them was me. Reviewing it after I uploaded it, and then determining with whatever conscience that I had left. Yeah, we'll restrict that one too. Anyway, yeah, mom comes by, infects me. By Sunday, I'm kind of like flaky. And I can't even tell you how many hours looking for a tool so I could do the oil change in my, on my motorcycle, because it needs one. It's been a year. And it's pretty close anyway. I think it's got, maybe 900 miles left to go before I have to do it. And so I couldn't find the tool because it was attached to the torque wrench, and it's the only reason I even need it is in order to do the torque pounds on the 2 drain plugs on the underside. I need 3 foot-pounds, whatever. So I finally gave up and fucking ordered one 6mm hex. I had one with a 3/8 drive, I think, and it came in a kit, and I got this giant, man, my head is pounded. Giant, kit of every size on the planet. And all I needed was this one. And so I ended up just ordering it in the 1/2-inch drive. Just, anywho. So that was my Sunday. Well, Monday I woke up and I didn't even have enough sense to even make coffee. And so now the sick is coming on, right? So Tuesday, there's absolutely nobody there to do what needs to be done. So I was sick on Tuesday. Probably, it's like I had the burning post-nasal. I was still dry. I wasn't dripping yet, but my chest was feeling a little funky. My head was feeling like it was in a vice. And I was bitchy. And I'm still kind of bitchy. But in any case, Tuesday I did almost 13 hours, sicker than a fucking dog. Feeling this thing come on, full tilt boogie. And then Wednesday I went into work and I got out of there. I don't even know what fucking time he sent me home. I don't know, it might have been right around 2:30, 3 o'clock. He was like, get out of there, dispatch. It's like, you sound like horrible. And I feel fucking horrible. Why didn't you call in? I said, there was nobody to do it. The dispatch, the batch guy was on vacay. My plant manager is like, can't be up there because of his fingers having been amputated, that kind of thing. And there was nobody else to do it. So I had to, we had one plant manager there, but they had tasked him to go do something else. And he was like, you're sick. I was like, is you going to be okay? I said, I kind of got no choice right now. So here I am, right? So anyway, so Wednesday, I'm in work. I sound like crap. I am lethargic. I am ready to just die. I feel about the same. Now I have a runny nose to add to it. So I'm kind of bitchy. But anyway, dispatch calls my plant manager, says, get back over there after your physical therapy. Relieve her. She needs to go home. And then he says, if you're still sick, go ahead and call in. So I woke up, butt crack of pre-dawn, and I'm feeling miserable as fuck. And I'm debating, am I okay to go? If I was in my mixer, I would go. Because every 10, 15 minutes in between pulling out of the yard or whatever, I would be able to just kick back in my truck, put my little armrest down, and just take a 10-minute cat nap and block out the world. Which is what I usually do when I'm sick and I'm working in that environment. This environment's a little different. I have to be attentive. I'm on the computer, with customers. I got the yard guys that I got to communicate with. I got the one 18-year-old smartass who I adore. I mean, God, I'd adopt this child. But anyway, he's hilarious. But he's telling me what he's been doing and, keeps me updated on what he's doing in the yard because he's one of those ones that's kind of like insecure in his element. He doesn't think that anybody's really paying attention to what exactly he's accomplishing, that kind of thing. Anyway, it's a different environment, and I'm like, my head is in a vice, and I'm like, I love this kid to death, and it's like, please shut up. Because I have no psychological stamina at the moment to listen. It's like I just don't fucking care, right? I'm trying to keep my own sanity in check because I'm feeling miserable. So, so yesterday I take a buttload of echinacea and golden seal and quercetin and this other anti-parasitic over-the-counter thingy, and I'm feeling like complete garbage, and my mom calls me. How you feeling? She hits the liquor store. for me. So she buys me some blackberry brandy. She buys me some elderberry wine. And this other, I don't know what it is, but it's gross. Hold on. She says, oh, all the old timers around here say it's awesome, and you sip that and you will never get sick. Yeah, it makes you fucking sick after it's called Slow and Low Rockin' Rye. And I don't know, y'all Tennesseans around here. It's 80 proof. It is, let's see, straight rye whiskey, raw honey, navel orange, rock candy, and bitters. Is this little can of shit, right? So I put a splash of that in my, I got this chamomile tea with lemon and honey, and yeah, I just kind of opened it and splashed it in there. I'd rather drink Fireball. That is awful. But the old people, they swear by it. Anywho, we'll get back to my... So anyway, I slept about 20 plus hours yesterday. Sicker than sick. It, like, whatever, everything that I was consuming was affecting my kidneys. I was having major issues there. I was like, this is ridiculous. So I came out and guzzled like a half a gallon of water. Tried to lay down, go back to sleep. It was on and off, on and off, on and off. So anyway, Saturday night, after I got back, I was drinking my few beers at home, which put me over the edge, and I got into this weepy crying mess. While I was on my first deployment in Iraq, the girl that was at the RCP SRP Center at Fort Hood, we had just sent her home because she had found out a couple weeks after she got back from R&R that she was pregnant with, you know, she was 23 years old. I don't think she even cared that she was going to be a single mother. She was just happy, right? So we put her on a plane to go home, get her out of the combat zone, because technically she wasn't authorized to be there. She was safer in combat than she was at home. And that's what pisses a lot of us off. We were all stationed with her. She was absolutely delightful. Hilarious girl. Always happy. And I got into like my crying thing, and I envied her because she was so joyful all the time. And it's something that I have never ever possessed, is joyfulness. Right? It takes a lot to get it out of me if I'm in a situation where it can be presented. Otherwise, it's like there's people out there that are just, you know, they're constantly like bubbly and they're fucking annoying. She was not bubbly out of context or scenario. She knew when to be bubbly and when not to be bubbly, and she had a way of being able to pull someone out of a funk and make them feel better about, you know, the situation. She wasn't erroneously bubbly. She was just naturally exuded joy, and she, you know, lighthearted and took everything with a grain of salt, and she was just a peach to be around. And it's a shame that one crazy fuck, she happened to get into the crossfire of that, and her unborn child were killed in the process of this one losing it. You know, conscientious objector with, he had a psychology degree, which makes it even more frustrating. You know, the psychologists are supposed to be helpful to people suffering with psychological illness, not lose their fucking marbles on people who have already experienced trauma having been in a combat zone. It was like, did anybody vet this fucker? Obviously not. So anyway, I am entertaining my mother's elderberry wine. She went to the liquor store and bought all this shit for me. Anyway, I'm entertaining the elderberry one. She bought me the blackberry. It's either wine or brandy or something. I was like, it's not brandy, Ma. She goes, oh, well, then enjoy it whenever. Anyway, she come walking in the house with a mask on. I was like, a little fucking late for that, Ma. You already infected me. So, this morning, I didn't want to call in again. And so, I got up, washed the face, got up and forced myself out the door, got there, and I have been a miserable fuck. Since I got there, and of course my plant manager is like, I'll be back. So he comes up and he's like, why are you still here? And I was like, because you didn't let me go. You know, I'm hanging in there. I'm doing what I need to do. He's like, let me go get my truck from the services. I'll come back and then you go on home. Let me know how you're feeling. Or I was like, I will be here in the morning. Now, probably be in the best interest to have a backup batching person. So I would say pull that plant's order. They got one order, which is down in Nashville. We used to roll for Nashville anyway. Put it up on our board. Bring dude up here. That way I can run the desk down here. He can run up there, or vice versa. That, or he can be downstairs and learn how to do this operation. And we need to get him a network up north so he can start doing some of this sales stuff. Yeah. Because he's getting, it's like 3 or 4 times a week. He's calling me now for information regarding product and pricing and everything. And he's like, I got to do cash. I don't have a credit card system up here. And I don't stock all this stuff that you stock. You got all of it down there. And I was like, yeah, they probably ought to think about how they want to, manage this. If they're going to expand, they need to accommodate up there a little bit better. So, credit card would be great. And that way he could process payments for concrete, COD order, things like that. That way the person doesn't have to drive all the way down to my AO, pay for their stuff or whatnot. Or wait and write a check when we deliver it. Kind of mess. A lot of times those checks aren't any good, and yeah, hot mess. But anyway, yeah, pisses me off about Memorial Day is a lot of soldiers who have experienced any kind of loss, combat or any kind of trauma within combat, they it's a team effort, and if one person passes, then the whole team feels as though they failed as an individual. And there's also incident where explosions, loud noises, spontaneous bangs, jerking, kind of scaring someone from around doorways and shit like that. Sets our temperaments off, shit like that. And it's not something you fucking play with. And then Memorial Day, on top of it, we have to remember the people that we lost. So it's a constant fucking reminder. And a lot of soldiers can't deal with that pain, reliving it every fucking year. So a lot of times we don't even get on social media. We avoid interaction altogether because that lessens the emotional strain in respects to that holiday. It's not even a fucking holiday. It's not. While the rest of the world is celebrating your freedoms with getting that extra day off. Those of us who have experienced the trauma and or lost people with respects to that extra day off. Yeah. My mother, like right after I got out of the service, she had messaged me, or it said some happy Memorial Day, and I was like, today's not for me. My day is in November. Oh, well, I'm sorry. And, I explained it to her. I said, no, it's no harm, no foul. It's just something that's just always been misinterpreted for, like, ever since it, one of the hardest pictures or, situations that I've ever kind of witnessed is during a Memorial Day where you see the Vietnam veterans at the wall in D.C. mourning the loss of their, fellow soldiers and, whatnot. There's a memorial in Fort Hood now. Well, Kavasa, whatever the fuck it's called. I hope they change it back to Fort Hood. Anyway, yeah, I have yet to see. I have yet to go back there and see it. But one of the things that I was mentioning with my emotional outpouring that, thank God, only 4 people saw but me, is the unit that I was assigned to is, they are the meanest motherfuckers, I think, on the planet. Yeah, I had, yeah, they're fucking cruel. As a battalion, as a unit, in our own right, we were called outlaws, and that is because we made shit happen and we didn't give a fuck about rules as long as nobody died. Get it done. It was a very common phrase. NCOs would go to higher ups and say this is the controversies, and this is what we, and the commanding elements or the higher ranking NCOs would be like, make it happen. And that's basically blessing off on, do what you gotta do, make it fucking happen. Report back when you're finished. I had spent years trying to become customer service type of, subtle. And be friendly to people even though they're being assholes to me. To get put in a unit where all of that personal improvement and self-improvement and, recognizing that I'm very brassy. Concepts went right out the fucking window when I got to this unit, because I was literally appalled at some of the behaviors that I had to witness. And sadly, after 4 years, I turned into one of them. So, forgive me. I'm working on it. Trying to get me back to where it was before I went there. Kind of. Yeah, it's going to take 3 times as long this time. Anyway, I hope everybody's had a good week. I'm currently struggling with, I don't fucking know, flu, allergies, the mom germ. Anyway, peace out.